Good evening, everyone. And we can start doing some chanting now. That can be found on page 17 of the Chanting Book, Volume 1. Yo so bhagava arahang samma sambuddho sawakato yena bhagavata dhammo supatipanno yasa bhagavato sawaka sankho Dhammayang bhagavantang sadhammang sasangkang ime hi sakare hi yatarahang aro ma sadhuno pante bhagava sucira pariniputopi Pachima chanatanu kampamanasa ime sakare tu katapana karapute patikan hatu amhakang ti karatang hitaya sukaya Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Sawakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno bhagavato sawaka sankho sanghang namami Hantamayang puttasa bhagavato pupapa kanamakarang karumase Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Hantamayang puttana satinayang karomase Tangko apana bhagavantang hewang kalayano kitisato hapukato Iti piso bhagava harahang samma sambuddho Vicha charana sampanno sukhato lokavitu Anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satati vamanusana Buddho bhagavati Hantamayang Buddha Pikiting Karomase Buddha Varahanta Varatati Gunan Suddha Pinyana Karuna Hisamakatato Buddhesiyo Sushanatang Kamalang Vasuro Vanta mahang tamaranang sirasa chinetang
ปุตโตโยสัพพพานินางสารนังเขมาพุทธามังปัตตมานุสติทหานังวันตามิทังสิเรนะหังปุตตาสาหสามิตาโสวะปุตโตเมสามิคิสารโรปุตโตทุกขาสักขาตาชาพิตาตาชาหิตาสเมปุตตาสาหังนิยาเดมิสาริรังชีวิตังชิตังวันตันโทหังจาริสามิปุตตาเสวะสุปุติตังนาทิเมสารนังหันยังสารนังวรังเอเทนะสัจวะเจนะวะเทยังสัตสาสเนปุตังเมวันธรรมานินายัมปุญญังภาสตังหิตาสัพเพปิยันตรายามิมาเหสุมทัสสะเทจัสสะ
กายนาวาจโยวจเตสาวาปุตติกุกมันปะกตังมยายามปุตโตปฏิกันหาตวันชยันตังคลันทริยสัมวริตุมวาปุตติ
หันธรรมยังธรรมานุสตินยังคารโรมาเสสวาคาโตปะกาวะทาธัมโมสันทิติโคหาคาลิโกเฮหิปัสสิโกโอปานาเยโกปัจจาทังเวทิตาโปวินยูหิติหันธรรมายังธรรมาปิกิติงคารโรมาเสสวาคาตาทาทิโกนายโยกาวะเสนาเสยโยโยมาคาภาคาภาริยาทิวิโมกขเพโตตัมโมโคโลคาพัฒนาตถาตาริตาริวันธรรมหังธรรมรานังวรธรรมเมธังธัมโมโยสัพพพานินังธรรมังตุติยานุสติทานังวันตามิทังสิเรนะหังธัมมาสาหสามิตาโสวัตตัมโมเมมิคิสารโรธัมโมตุกขาสักขาตาจาปิตาตาจาหิตาสเมตัมมาสาหังนิยาเตมิสาริรังชีวิตังชิตังวันตันโทหังชาริสามิตัมมาเสวะสุตัมมะทังนาทิเมสารนังหันยังธัมโมเมสารนังวรังเอเทนะสัจวะเชนะวะเดยังสัตสัสสเนตัมมังเมวันธรรมานินายัมปุญญังภาสุทังหิตาสัพเพปิยันตรายามิมาเหสุมทัสสะเทจัสสะ
กายนาวาจโยวจเตสาวาธัมเมกุกมันปะกตังพยายามธัมโมปฏิกันหาตวันชยันตังคลันทริยสัมวริตุมวาธัมเม
หันธรรมายังสังฆานุสตินายังคารโรมาเสสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆ อุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสัมนิจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยะติตังชาตาริปุริสายุคานิหาตาปุริสาภุคลาเอสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุเนยโยปาหุเนยโยตาคิเนยโยหันชลิกรณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญเกตังโลกาสาธิหันธัมมยังสังฆาปิกิติงคารโรมาเสสัตตัมมาโชสุปฏิปฏิคุณาติโยโตโยธาปิโตหาริยปุคละสังกาเสโตศีลาติธรรมปวาราสยคายจิตโตวันตามหังธรรมริยานาคานังสุสุตังสังโฆโยสัพพะเกมาพุทธามังทาติยานุสติทานังวันทามิทังสิเรนะหังสังฆาสาหาสามิตาโสวะสังโฆเมสามิคิสารโรสังโฆตุคาสกาตาชาปิตาตาชาหิตาสเมสังฆาสหังนิยาเตมิสาริรังชีวิตังชิตังวันตันโทหังชาริสามิสังฆาโสปฏิปันนาทังนาทิเมสารนังหันยังสังโฆเมเทนะสัจวะเจนะปัตยังสัตติสัสสะเนสังฆังเมวันตมานินายังปุญญังปัสสุทังหิตาสัพเพปิยันตรายามิมาเหสุมทัสสะเทจัสสะ
กายนะวาจายวาเจเตสาวะสังกีกุกมันปะกตังมยายามสังโฆปฏิกันหาตุวันชิยันตังทันตริยสัมวริตุมาสังกี
Page 158, the Jina Pancharakatha, Jina Panchan. Buddha ka mola pe buddhang tanaka mola pe tanang atikaye kaya yaya te vanang piyatang suttawa jaya sana kata puta cetawa marang sapahanang chatu sacha sapang rasang ye piwim sunaสัพทันหันการาตโยพุทธาหาตเวียสตินายคาสาเปียปฏิติธามัยมาตะเกเตมนิสาราสีเสปฏิติโทมัยหังพุทโตธัมโมตวิโลชนิสังโฆปฏิติโทมัยหังหุเรสาปกุณาคารโรหัตเยเมหิอันหุโรโตสาริปุตโตชาตาคิเนคนทันโยปิติปากาสมิ กาลาโนชาวามะเคทากิเนสาวเนมัยหังหาสมหานันตราหุโลกาสัพพุชามหานามโมอุปาสมามโสตะเคเสะโตปิติปากาสัมหิงสุริโยวะปะปังคารโรนิสินโนสิริปันโนโสปิโตมุนิพงคาวคุมารคาสัพพุเทโรมเหสีจิตาวาตโกโสมัยหังวัตเนนิชังปฏิทาสิกุณาคารโรปุณโญอังคุริมาโลชะหุปาลีนันตสีวาลีเมชาทานัลลาเทธิราคามมาเสสาสิทิมหาเทราวิชิตาชินสาวกาเฮเทสิทิมหาเทราชิตาวันโทชินโหรสาจารันตาสิลเทเจนะหังขมังเคสุสันทิตารตานังปุระโตอาสิตากิเนเมตาสุตะคังตาจังปัจจโตหาสิวามิหังคุริมาลคังคันตมุระปริตัญชาหตานาติยสุตอาคาเสจตานังหาสิเสสะปะการสันติตาชินานาวรสัมยุตตาสัตปะกาลลังคตาวาตาปิตาดิสัญชาตาปาหิราชตุปาตวาหเสสะวินายังนาเสจัสสาวาสัทโธมิสักขิเชนะสัตตาสัมพุทธปัญชเรชินาปัญชรมาจามิวิหารันทังมหิตะเลสัดดาปะเลนตุมังสาปิมหาปุริสาสปาหิเชวามันโทสุขโตสุราโคชินานุปาเวนะชิตุปาตาโวตัมมานุปาเวชิตาริสังโฆสังฆานุปาเวนะชิตันตรายโยสัธัมมะดุปาวะปาลิโตชารามิชินาปัญชเรติ Page 46 หน้า46บทแผ่เมตตาหันตมัยยังเมตตาปารนังคารโรมาเสอาหังสุขิโตโหมินิโตโคโหมิอาเวโรปัจโจโหมิอานิโคโหมิสุขิหาทานังภริหารามิสัพเพสัตตาสุขิตาหุนตุสัพเพสัตตาหาเวราหุนตุสัพเพสัตตาหาปยาปัจจาหุนตุสัพเพสัตตาหานิกาหุนตุสัพเพสัตตาสุขิหาทานังปริหารันตุสัพเพสัตตาสัพพทุกขาปะมุญชันตุสัพเพสัตตาลาตาสัมปติโตมาวิคัจฉันตุสัพเพสัตตาคัมมัสสะกะคัมมตายาตาคัมมโยนิคัมมะคัมมาปฏิสารณายังคัมมังคาริสันติกาลยานังวาทัสสะตายาตาปะพิสันติ May I abide in well-being in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts they will be the heirs. Page 34. หน้า34 หันธรรมยังสัพพะหันธรรมยังสัพพปฏิตานาคาทายโยปนามาเสปุญญาสิทานิคาทาสัญญานัญญานิคาทานิเมเทสัญชาภาคิโนหันตุสัตตานันทปมานาคา May whatever living beings, without measure, without end, partake of all the merit from the good deeds I have done. Ye piya gunavanta cha maihang mata pita dayo. Dita me cha paya dita wa anye ma cha ta virino. Full of goodness, my mother and my father dear, being seen by me and those unseen, those neutral and averse, satati tanti loka saming te pumma chatu yonika, pancheka chatu vokara sangsaranta bhava bhave. Beings established in the world from the 3 planes and 4 grounds of birth, with 5 aggregates or 1 or 4, wandering on from realm to realm. Nyatang me patitana me hanumodantu te sayang. Ye chi mang na pajananti te wa te sang nei vedayom. Those who know my act of dedication, may they all rejoice in it. And as for those still unaware, may the Devas let them know. Maya dinana punyanang hanumodana hetuna. Sabe sata sata huntu havira sukha chivino. Kema patancha papuntu te sasasi chatang supa. By rejoicing in my sharing, may all beings live at ease, in freedom from hostility. May their good wishes be fulfilled, and may they all reach safety. So we've come together once again on Saturday, as is our program through the annual Rains Retreat. As I mention each time, there'll be a chance to ask questions after the short talk. And if you wish to, if you're joining in online, you can place your questions into the chat bar there, and they'll be read out on your behalf by Venerable Dhamma. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. So I'd like to take leave of the Sangha to speak on the Dhamma this evening. So over the past few weeks, we've been gathering together on these Saturday evenings to practice together, whether it's in person or online. And you might have noticed a theme throughout the past few sessions. And I mentioned a number of times what I've been encouraging the lay people here in Bodhipala Monastery, and also people who are joining in online, was to set an aspiration through this 3-month Rains Retreat period to do something positive for yourself. Determine one positive thing to do in your life that you're actively going to incorporate into your daily schedule. And find something that you want to do without for the 3-month Rains Retreat. So a few examples of this are, if you have a bad habit and you want to get rid of that bad habit, maybe you find a determination which challenges that bad habit. Maybe you eat too much, or eat the wrong things, or you maybe you drink alcohol and you want to give up that. You smoke and you want to give up smoking. So these are the types of things that we determine to do without for the 3 months period. And doing something positive, meaning taking on extra precepts, doing more meditation, being more kind to others, doing one kind thing for somebody else each day. So these are the sorts of both things we can do without and the things we can develop through the 3 months Rains Retreat period. And that's something I've been encouraging everyone to take on. And tonight I just wanted to touch on 4 Dhamma topics. They come under what's called the Garawasa Dhamma. The 4 Garawasa Dhammas. So these are quite related to what we're trying to do in our Dhamma practice. These were described by Venerable Lumpur Buddhadasa, who used to live in the southern part of Thailand, also known as Lumpur Buddhatat. He was a very well-known and excellent Dhamma scholar and practitioner. So these 4 Dhammas are actually under the category of the Dhammas for lay people. But Luang Por Buddhadasa actually said that these 4 Dhamma qualities can lead you all the way to enlightenment. So they're not to be overlooked. So the first of these 4 qualities is satcha. And many of you have probably heard a lot of these terms before. Satcha means truthfulness, honesty, sincerity. And so when we practice Dhamma, we're being very honest about ourselves, what we're experiencing, both the good and the bad in our minds. We acknowledge it and we learn how to let go of it. So this sense of honesty and sincerity is very important in our practice. So that's number 1 of these qualities. And just relating this back to these practices that we are aiming to develop. Being honest with yourself, being sincere in your determination to keep up your certain practices which you have determined to do for this Rains Retreat period. So you need that honesty. In life, we're often lying to others or lying to ourselves. This is quite a common experience. We lie externally to cover up mistakes or shortcomings, but we also lie to ourselves, and we glaze over some of our bad habits and ignore them, push them aside. Maybe we blame other people when actually the fault is ours. So this sense of inner honesty is very important Dhamma quality. So satcha, or honesty, is the first quality. The second Dhamma quality of the 4 is called Dhamma, which sounds very similar to Dhamma. It's a different word completely. So this word is spelled D-A-M-A as opposed to Dhamma, which is D-H-A-M-M-A. So as you know, Dhamma is the teachings of the Buddha. This quality, D-A-M-A, is a quality of learning or teaching oneself. It's about restraining our minds, watching over our minds. Another way of describing it is as governing over our minds rather than letting our defilements govern over us. So this quality of Dhamma is to restrain our normal indulgences, our normal ways of behavior which we unmindfully fall into. So learning how to choose restraint, choose composure, and this is this quality of Dhamma. So for an example, if one gets angry, one chooses to mindfully not follow anger. Or if one feels greedy for something, one chooses not to go for that item which you desire. So you're cultivating a sense of restraint, self-reflection. You're inwardly teaching yourself not to do something which you desire to do. So this quality is very, very important to us as practitioners. We then lead into the next of the four qualities, the third one, called khanti. Khanti means patience, forbearance. Another word we use with paired with patience is patient endurance. This quality of patience is one of the words you'll hear Buddhist monks and Buddhist practitioners talk about the most. Because as we know, when we're new to practice, we're trying to be honest and sincere, and we're trying to learn how to restrain our minds. But before we become skillful or well versed at knowing how to control our minds, we often make mistakes. So we need to be patient. We often get frustrated with the process of our Dhamma practice. So we need to know how to cultivate the quality of patience, forbearance, being willing to give the practice time, to know that our minds have been following greed, hatred, and delusion for a very long time. So to just stop greed, hatred, and delusion straight away, overnight, is pretty unrealistic. So we develop this quality of patience. And finally, the last quality is the quality of chaga. Chaga is a means to give up, to relinquish, to let go. So with patience and forbearance, we learn how to be mindful of the content of our mind, let go of our impatience. This leads us to this last quality of letting go, learning how to put down, mindfully be aware of greed, hatred, and delusion, and let it go, put it down, and give it up. So these four qualities, we practice them. So just as we practice truthfulness, restraint, and patience, we also practice letting go. Initially, we learn how to let go using external possessions. We learn how to let go of our material possessions. We learn how to share our material wealth and possessions with others who are in need. We also learn how to share our time, our energy, our knowledge. And these type of letting go or giving up is a way of helping others. When we learn how to let go of these more in these more external forms, then we learn how to let go of more internal bad habits, stinginess, selfishness, sense of self, these type of internal mental defilements, when we learn how to give up externally, we'll then become skillful and able to let go of internal defilements of mind as well. So you can see how these four Dhamma qualities work together. On paper, we always separate these things to make it clear, and you can go into and explain different points of Dhamma. But when we're practicing them, we often are experiencing several or all of these qualities being cultivated as we practice. So these are the Garawasa Dhammas, the four Garawasa Dhammas. And just as Lumpur Buddhadasa said, these are named the Dhammas, four Dhammas for the householder. But we can say that all practitioners can use these qualities of truthfulness, honesty, sincerity, self-restraint, patience, and letting go. We can use that almost like a mantra in our practice as well. Lumpur Buddhadasa even mentioned that these qualities lead to full enlightenment. So we can bear these four aspects in mind when we're practicing. Notice when we're being dishonest to others and ourselves. Learning to notice when we have a lack of self-restraint. Noticing when we're getting impatient. And notice when we feel possessive and don't feel like giving up or letting go. So these four qualities can be operating or resounding in your head in the background to then remind you to be more honest, more self-composed, more self-restraint, more patient, and remember to let go. So for this evening, I just wanted to share those four Dhammas with you tonight, and hopefully that can be of use to you in working with your determinations through the 3 months Rains Retreat. So wish you all many blessings of the Triple Gem.
Andamayam Dhammakataya Sadhu Karanga Dhamase Sadhu 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 Anumodana.
Okay, so now is the time. If you have any questions, you're welcome to write them in online, or if you have any in person here, you're welcome to ask them. Maybe we'll start online. No questions this week. So, any questions here? Yes. Okay. So the question was, as lay people, how do we practice letting go without turning back on our responsibilities? It's a very good question, because we, as we know, as lay people, not only lay people, but also monks have responsibilities. I think everyone in this world has a responsibility of some shape or form. So where do we let go? Where do we attach? So my suggestion there would be to know what one's duties are. And sometimes in life, it becomes unclear where our responsibilities lie or our duties lie, or where our attachments are. Because as we have attachments, craving, then when we operate in our daily lives, we can often be operating from craving and attachment due to our lack of mindfulness. So when we practice mindfulness, our aim is to look at our lives, our attitude towards our loved ones, to our workplace, to society, and start identifying where am I attaching and where is my responsibility. So in the lay life, you have parents and children. That's a very strong source of attachment for a lot of people. You have the role of a parent. It's your job as a parent to teach your children right from wrong, good from bad, to know what is wholesome and unwholesome, even learning discipline as well. So we have a responsibility there. But as we teach our children, or we give them encouragement, or sometimes we have to tell them off, our defilements creep in as well. Maybe expectation, a wish for them to be other than they are. These types of attachments creep in and affect our behavior as well. So instead of presenting information to our children in a very compassionate, mindful way, we sometimes have moods of anger, displeasure, and we operate from them. So we need to know how to be conscious, mindful of where our responsibility lies and where our attachments are starting to creep in. So this is a question you need to ask yourself. And through mindfulness, you start to notice where expectation, desire, attachment starts creeping in. You start weeding it out. You start weeding out the times where you're getting angry because the children didn't do their homework. Yes, you do have to explain to the children that you have to do homework because it helps you in your education process. It's a form of self-discipline. But if they don't do what you say, do you suffer? So these type of questions help us to understand where we're attaching and try and weed out those expectations, those desires, those displeasures. If you do, then the children actually feel better as well. They know, yes, mum and dad are explaining something which is important in my life, and there's a reason behind what they're saying. I may not like what they're saying, but it makes sense and it's been presented appropriately. Often that doesn't happen. Usually it's yelling at the child, okay, you've got to do your homework, why haven't you done it? So that will have a different response in the child, as opposed to presenting the information in a mindful, neutral way. So these type of areas are areas where we can work on. But identifying where is your responsibility and where is your attachments, and that's something we weed out as we become more mindful. Yes. What is meditation and why do we have to do it? Okay, we have a young man who's asked, what is meditation and why do we have to do it? So meditation is like an exercise for your mind. It's a exercise in building mindfulness. So the strength of your mindfulness. Okay. So it makes you more conscious of what's happening in your mind. It makes you more aware, more mindful of how to behave as well. So mindfulness is cultivated through meditation. So we focus on our breathing coming in and going out. And this attention to our breathing and letting go of our distracted thinking helps us to cultivate mindfulness. We use mindfulness to do this exercise. It focuses our mind so we can let go of our distracted thinking. So you'll find that your mind will calm down, be more peaceful, and you can start seeing your mind and letting go of unwholesome mind states and cultivating wholesome mind states. So that's why we meditate.
There's one question online.
Yep.
As a layperson, personally, I find Dhamma and Kanti quite challenging, especially in terms of putting them into practice and seeing progress. During the Rains retreat, it feels like a good opportunity to practice because there's a clear time frame and a specific goal to work towards. Outside of the retreat period, however, it can be more challenging to maintain the same level of practice alongside our daily routines, work, and other responsibilities.
Yeah, so when you have a period of 3 months, it can be a very achievable period of time where you can devote yourself to these practices. And what you might find is that at the end of the Rains retreat, when you have maybe achieved all your determinations, you might feel you can continue them or continue them in a different way, but in a similar fashion. But the qualities, these 4 qualities, are something you can keep going in your practice. So restraint can be developed and continued even outside of the Rains retreat. It may look a little bit different, meaning the things that we are being restraining ourselves from may be a bit different. But if we understand that this self-restraint actually helps our mental health, it helps our mindfulness, it increases the strength of our mind, then we realize, oh, this is very valuable. So it's not something that we're trying to forced upon us. Initially, it does feel very forced, and that we have to dig deep to really try and develop self-restraint. But after a while, you have a love for self-restraint. And you realize that this self-restraint then builds your character. It builds your strength of mind. The person who simply follows their desires, follows their anger, follows their wishes, their desires, every single wish and desire which arises in your mind, you just follow it. We call that somebody with very weak strength of mind. and often they have trouble finding true happiness in their lives. Whereas if we start looking inward and seeing that true happiness and contentment doesn't come through following our desires and gratification, but comes through this strength of mindfulness and composure, sense of self-respect, which comes through keeping precepts, practicing not following every single mood of anger, every desire you have, you find that just like in the description by Lumpur Buddhadasa's, you govern over your mind rather than your mind governing over you. When we say the mind governing over you, I mean your greed, hatred, and delusion taking over rather than you being in charge, so to speak. So this qualities can be developed in the rains retreat and also outside of the rains retreat. And if you understand the value of them, then you want to keep them up as well.
How does listening to music affects your, becomes an obstacle developing mindfulness? Is it good? Is it bad? Should do it? Should not do it? What's your thoughts?
So the question was around music. How does music affect our minds? Does it affect it unwholesomely, or is it good? Is it bad? Is it something we should stop doing? And for me, I haven't listened to music for over 20 years, so I don't miss it. Because a lot of the content of music is all about romance or hardships, and it appeals to people's emotions. So when you listen to music, it distracts you. So it takes you away from maybe how you're feeling, and it's something in the background to distract you away from maybe your own mind state at the time. So it can be a distraction. Music can also be used in wholesome ways as well to generate positive emotion as well, meaning relaxing sounds. Sometimes people find that very useful when they're feeling really stressed. Some sounds of nature, they sometimes have to put that on to help calm them down. I mean, that's not wrong. So there's various types of music. You could say us as Buddhist monks, we do chanting. It's almost a form of music, I suppose. It's not really intended that way, but it's sound, isn't it? But the content which we're chanting about is wholesome. So it's the Buddha's teachings, it's reflections about the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. So it's reminders. So it's leading towards a wholesome. So I suppose the question is, you have to ask yourself, what am I gaining from listening to music? So you have to remember our minds are, they're conditioned, right? So you put in certain conditions, it's going to start behaving in a certain way. So if you listen to a lot of romantic songs, what are you going to start thinking about? You're going to be thinking about sort of, oh, am I missing out, or where's the romance in my life? There's going to be that type of thinking. If you have a lot of sort of putting in a lot of sort of angry music, I think that's exactly what's going to come out. So not only with music, but also with media that we consume as well. So whether that's via social media, whether that's through the news, inputs like that, that's all affecting our minds. Very sensitive people, especially you notice this when you stay in the monastery, because there's a lot of sense restraint in the monastery. So the other day we had some workers here and they were listening to music. And so monks, we haven't heard music in a long time. So it feels very different. So you notice how distracting it is. So you're noticing how, how could people listen to that all day? Because we appreciate the peace and quiet and tranquility more than the distractive nature of songs just on the loop. But again, it's up to the person. It's not, music is bad in itself. It can be used to help people calm down. Yeah, so it's not necessarily bad, but you have to be mindful of what you consume as well, because it has an effect on our minds. Yeah. Okay, so that's probably enough for this evening, and we'll close now by paying respects to the Triple Gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Sawakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sankho Sanghang Namami